Hi, everybody. Welcome on to our new Zoom platform. We're giving it a shot today. It's 1:28, so we're going to wait just a few more minutes to get started. And yeah, thanks all for joining. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. You get to see us today. Yay! So thanks for being here. And we are trying out a new platform today with Zoom because hopefully you guys can all see my screen as well as see Angie and I, so we can interact a little bit more. I know sometimes you get a little starved for some interaction here. So welcome everybody to our, I think this is number 11 of our webinars so far. We're really glad that you are here. We have a little bit of content to go over today. Our main intention, in addition to some content to share with you, is really to answer your questions, which is why we wanted to switch platforms and become a little bit more interactive. So if you take a look, and please interact on our chat box. It's really interactive and easy to use, and ask us any questions that come up for you, as well as any questions that you may be holding on to from past webinars. And we'll go ahead and get started, and we're really excited to see you guys here. So Angie, you want to go ahead and get it taken away?
Awesome. Hey everybody, I hope you are happy to put our real faces with our voices. And as Alex mentioned, we wanted to try a little different platform today, just so we could be a little more personal with you all. So thanks for joining. Feel free to share your face. We would love that. We don't have a ton of content today. I really wanted to give just a lot of time for answering your questions. So feel free, start typing them in for Alex and I. What I wanted to go over, though, while you're typing up your questions, are a few pieces that we put together that we are happy to share with you in my conversations with my clients that we administer FMLA for. When we talk about their various employee situations, I felt like it may be super beneficial if we have some sort of flow chart to help everybody, because truly every employee situation is unique, and every business is unique, and every industry is unique. And even for me, it's helpful if I am looking at some sort of flow chart to really get in line. I get hit with tons and tons of scenarios all day, every day. And this flowchart is really how we help you determine whether an employee is eligible for any particular leave, whether it be the paid sick leave or the FMLA expansion. So this is a cool flowchart. I recommend that you use something like this every time you get a request from an employee about whether it's the paid sick leave or the FMLA expansion. This is just something super helpful to keep you in line, as well as a great way for you to document for every single employee. Because remember, we've talked many times that documentation is going to be key when you are looking to collect tax credits for paying these types of leaves out. It's going to be critical that you have proper documentation. So I'm really happy to share this, and I hope that you find some value in it. And certainly let us know. We're happy to share it. So first piece of the flowchart is regarding the FMLA expansion. You're going to ask yourself and your employee these questions to determine whether or not they're eligible. Alex, go ahead to the next page. So this page is regarding the emergency paid sick leave. Same concept. Yes or no answers guide you to the next question to finally then, I believe on the next page, get you to some additional results. Go ahead, Alex, and switch that. Now, I'm not going to go through each one of these yes or no scenarios, but certainly please feel free to request a copy and utilize this to help you in making your decisions for each and every employee that comes to you, whether it be the emergency paid sick leave or the FMLA expansion. As I said, I use a similar concept when I'm talking to my clients about their particular employee requests, and it's very important that you follow some sort of process and flow.
And we'll have these available. I have more of a printable version that are available for everybody that we can share with you. So make sure to just let us know.
Awesome. And then this piece I wanted to share with you is what I put together in the way of a request form. So whether the employee is requesting FMLA expansion or sick leave or both. This is going to be a key piece of your documentation. In general, anytime you have an employee requesting time off, I'm sure you have some sort of request form that they use, whether it's to take vacation or it's to take their own sick leave, and no different should this situation be. If anything, it would be more critical in this scenario for the COVID-19 leaves that you have some really great documentation. Included in this are pieces that they need to answer. So the goal of a form like this is that you provide it to the employee when they have a request. So certainly they're going to request it from you verbally or via email. This is what you can then share with them. They can fill this out. What's their reason for FMLA expansion? Obviously, there's only one reason applicable. So we want to know the name of the child, the age of the child, the place of the school, or the name of the school or place of care, or the government entity that's issuing the order. Because again, if you're going to be applying for tax credits or you're applying for the Paycheck Protection Program, you want to have documentation of why you paid this out to a particular employee. And it's important that you document every single employee. Obviously, there are more reasons under the emergency paid sick leave, so there are more spots for them to complete. Now, they don't have to pick multiple reasons under the paid sick leave. It's the one that is applicable to them, even if there may be a couple reasons. Keep in mind, these reasons are going to also determine how much you're paying them. Because again, reasons 1 through 3 of the paid sick leave are paid at their full rate of pay with the $511 cap, and reasons 3 through 6 are paid at 2/3 of their rate with a cap of $200. So you want to document all of this. It's also going to just help you when it comes time to apply for those tax credits, that you make sure that every amount of money you're deducting on your 941, that you have a corresponding set of documentation. This is just one piece of the documentation that you're going to need. You're going to want to have some documentation as far as the employee's information, their normal rate of pay, you know, all of those different things. This is just one area to really support and assist you. And the last thing I wanted to throw out here for you, and certainly we will share the slide deck with you when we're done. For those of you that had to lay off or furlough employees, now that we've got this bank of money and resources available to support our businesses, we're obviously in a better position to rehire or bring back some of those furloughed folks. What I wanted to point out for you is that it's very important that you are prepared for the rehire process. You want to make sure that you're treating this in line with what you have in your rehire handbook, or your handbook should have rehire provisions. So I wanted to just throw in here, when you've laid someone off and rehiring them, you want to make sure that you go through all the traditional paperwork. We don't want to ever open ourselves up for any issues. So I've laid out on here a list of all of the key things that I would be distributing in the event I had to rehire of one of my employees. And again, whether they're laid off, you know, furloughed, whatever, you want to make sure you are treating them properly with all of the regular required documents and notices that you would normally have to do. So just wanted to throw it out there and have this as a resource for you. So when you do begin bringing those folks back, that you know, have already prepared and put together your rehire packets. Right. Awesome. For the remainder of our time, which we're going to go as long as we need, without going over an hour for sure, but what we want to do, and really going forward with our at least once a week webinars, and eventually we'll drop it to once a month, but what we want to do is share some helpful pieces when there is no additional guidance or additional legislation or changes, and certainly there are additional pieces of legislation out there pending. I wish I could go through every single state, but I can't, just trying to keep up with the federal goodies. But there are more bills that are being drafted and sitting out there that I'm sure more things will come down the pike eventually. Do be sure to keep up with what your state is doing. Today, I pulled off my report of what every single state is doing with regard to COVID-19 legislation, and I had like, I don't know, 29, 30 pages of goodies. Some of it is enacted, some of it is pending, some of it was, you know, declined. I mean, there's just a bank of things going on. So as much as we focus a lot on federal, please be sure to check out what your state is doing. So with that, we are going to spend the rest of our time on questions. So Alex?
Yeah, well, I am going to go through the questions that we already have, and then what we can do is we can actually open up the mics, which is really exciting. Ooh. So there's a couple questions about templates, about what was already on the screens, and just be aware, as long as I have all of your guys' information when you signed up, I'll go ahead and send that out in the thank you email, as well as a recording of this video. So you guys will definitely get all of that, as well as the printable flowcharts. So the first question that we have is, has it been clarified what is needed to be provided for small business exception under the childcare portion, i.e. 50 and under employees?
So the under 50 employees at this point, there is no application, there is no anything really, aside from some guidance out on the Department of Labor website that really talks about things that you need to consider and then document in order to have the exception. It's kind of vague and a little bit daunting, I think, because you can make this exception, but we don't have super clear guidance as to what do we need to provide to prove that paying for these leaves is going to jeopardize the viability of our business. So go out and check out the Department of Labor website for sure. Alex, if you would note that, I will definitely try to dig into that more for next week's webinar, just to see what else I can find. But yeah, not real clear guidance yet on this.
Got it. Let's see. And then the next question was, is there a cap on the paid EPSL 80 hours, 2 weeks? Meaning, if an employee was out on EPSL because he was sick with COVID and was paid the 80 hours, is he eligible for another 80 hours because he has to care for his spouse who is now sick with COVID?
Ooh, that's a great question. At this time, I don't believe that there's anything saying they couldn't. I can double check the legislation text. But no, I don't believe I've seen anything that says, like the FMLA, traditional FMLA and the expansion say 12 weeks within a 12-month period, because that was already defined in traditional FMLA. I don't believe I've seen anywhere that states it's one occurrence per year. So that's a great question. And I would caution you that in the event there is no specification that says it's one 80-hour segment between April and December, if there's nothing that calls that out, then you would most likely have to do it. But I think we dig into that a little bit deeper. Again, I've not seen anything that clarifies it's one occurrence.
Okay, if you guys have questions, you can unmute yourself at this point and go ahead and ask a question, and we'll try and go from there. I did just get another one that came in from Dorothy. Initially advised to use reduction in earnings form for UI via EDD, then told not to use this form. We're now being told the EEs who initially submitted the RIE forms, they just received notice of denial of UI and referred them to their ER. Anyone else have this come up in the last day or two?
That's interesting.
And then another one from Penny here. Reason number 3 for the FFCRA is only 2/3 of their pay. The IRS website frequently asked questions state that reason 1 through 3 is 100% and 4 through 6 is 2/3 of pay. Please clarify.
That is correct. 1 through 3 is at 100% with a cap at 511. 3 through 6 is 2/3 with a cap of 200. Again, those first 3 reasons are about the employee and their situation. 3 through 6 is about family member, child, or other individual.
Joshua Smith asked, are we allowed to use PPP loan money to pay vendors who we are past due with?
No, you are specifically only allowed to use the PPP loan for payroll related items. Out on the SBA.gov website, it gives you some guidance on the types of things that you can include in payroll. So definitely check that out, but you cannot use the PPP for other vendor obligations. That would need to be done through the other, the EIDL loan you could possibly do for that, but the PPP specifically for payroll-related items.
Okay.
And back to Dorothy's comment about the reduction of earnings. I had not heard that from anybody at this point, so that's interesting. Dorothy's a good friend of mine, so I hope when she gets some additional guidance, she shares it with me. So certainly we can share it with all of you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody? Bueller?
Don't forget, guys, you can always go out to our Q&A website if things come up in the course of a day or at night for that matter, and you have questions. Don't hesitate to still use that. It's available out there for you. We get notification when a new question comes in, and certainly we also craft our future presentations based on what you all are asking. So don't hesitate to use that. It's, I think, on the next slide, too. Awesome.
That's the actual website, in case you guys were wondering.
Mm-hmm. And it's a great way to search and use that as a knowledge base. You know, don't hesitate to do that either. So here we go. navigatehcr.answerbase.com. Don't hesitate anytime. Again, if you post a question out there, we will get notified via email to go out and take a look. If you have a question that you do not want published within our budding knowledge base that we're building with that, you can put that in the note of your question. So when you're typing in your question, you can say, please don't publish this. That's fine. Again, that site is geared for you guys. So don't hesitate to use it. And if you don't want it to be published for others to be able to see the question, they wouldn't see you, you can always ask that we not publish it. All right.
Okay, well, if we don't have any other questions, we appreciate you guys coming. Keep it short and sweet today. You know, keep your questions coming. We really do want to be a value add resource for you, your clients, anybody and everybody that you think might find our stuff valuable. We will be here again next week. Hopefully we'll have a new update. I think stuff is going to start changing with the, I have a feeling it's going to be a step up in the economy, and kind of see how that works. And I think we're going to start talking about how to bring employees back on and some of the stuff that's going to be required on that side. I got one more here. If an employee qualifies for both federal and state sick leave, does the employer have to pay both, or whichever is greater?
Generally, it's going to be whichever is greater, but I would be very cautious of that because sometimes when a state enacts something, they'll do it in a way that it's separate. So then you would end up paying both. If they run concurrent, that's a little different. So be very cautious. They could be two separate events. Or they could be kind of the same, and you'd pay whichever was greater. Generally, generally the state is going to be your resource for the guidance on do I pay both or which one. If it doesn't flat out state, you know, this trumps that or whatever, yeah, look to the state website and the state resources to get your answer for that, because it can vary.
Okay. Well, we will see you all next Thursday, and we'll continue this fun experiment of sharing all of our wonderful brain of Angie Sura. And all of these, of course, are posted on our YouTube channel. I'll send the link in a big, long email with a bunch of buttons, so you guys will have some automatic clickable stuff. Make sure that you had signed up. That way I have your email to be able to send all of those large amount of information to all of you guys, and we are super grateful for you being here. And like I said, if you have any questions, please ask on the answer base, or you also feel free to send Angie and I an email, and we will see you next week. So,
bye guys.
Stay safe, everybody. Bye.